The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Welcome to the Jesse Blake Sports Report. Whether this is your first time here, your last time here, or somewhere in between, I appreciate that you are here today so that we can discuss Morgan Ridly, Ridly Grieg, the slap shot heard around the world, and everything in between. I don't even have to explain what went on in the incident because I am sure every single person in the hockey world has heard it broken down a million times by now. But last night, down 4-3, the Toronto Maple Leafs pulled their goalie. And with 5 seconds left, Ridly Grieg skated down to the empty net, and he took a giant slap shot a couple feet away from the net and hammered the puck home, and subsequently skated around the side of the net and around up the boards. And Morgan Ridly, who is chasing the play, comes at him with a two-handed cross check right to the head and knocks him over. And Morgan gets a 5 in a game for that, and then they play out the 5 seconds. And since that moment, we've learned two things from the Department of Player Safety. The first being that Morgan Ridly will have a hearing, and that hearing will take place Tuesday afternoon at the NHL's New York office. So we know on Tuesday afternoon, shortly after the hearing, that we will get a decision. We will know how many games Morgan Ridly is going to be suspended. And the thing that I want to talk about today is the reaction, because when the NHL Department of Player Safety tweeted out that they are going to have a hearing with Morgan Ridly, I asked you on Twitter for your hottest take on the issue, or just your take in general on what's going on. I got a lot of reaction, and before I get to all of the reaction, I think the correct take here, and everybody has a take. That's the thing that's been going on for the last 24 hours, that everybody has a friggin' take on the issue. Some people are really hard on this is the right thing because Morgan Ridly's got to stick up for his team, and who cares if Ridly Grieg slap shots a puck into the net? Leafs are soft for reacting to that. This is the thing that's going to galvanize the team to the playoffs. Ottawa has their number. Ridly Grieg he shouldn't be doing that stuff. That's not Major League. That's not hockey. Everybody's got a friggin' take on the issue. And if you just play it down the middle, you say that, hey, both guys are wrong. Both guys are wrong in this situation. One, yes, you can slap shot the puck into the net. It can be hilarious. Both guys are right and wrong, I should say. It's not that both guys are wrong. It's both guys are right and wrong. Ridly Grieg can slap shot a puck into the net. All he wants is it's against your imaginary code of hockey, but you can still do it. You can pimp a home run. You can slap shot pucks into empty nets. Morgan Ridly has a right to respond to that, but he's wrong for how he responded. You can't go cross-checking a guy into the face. Hockey allows fighting. Fighting is not you don't get suspended for hockey and fighting. It is a penalty, but it allows it in the course of a game, in that it's not an action that is a suspension-worthy action. You can fight people. Morgan Ridly can fight Ridly Grieg or push him down and all this stuff, but you can't go cross-checking a guy in the head. Morgan Ridly is right for responding to something like that, because against the unwritten codes of hockey, you shouldn't be slap-shotting a puck into the empty net. Ridly Grieg is allowed to do something that's hilarious and slap-shot a puck into the empty net. Both guys are right and wrong in the situation. I think anybody who kind of just is like, okay, what's the most rational opinion I can have here, and look, how should I look at this? That's kind of the conclusion you come to. You're not on either side. Everybody here is right and wrong. Let's get to your reactions, though, because that's the most fun thing. The most fun thing is the people on either side of it. So let's talk about that for a second here. This is from Chris, who says, the Leafs don't win a game while Ridly serves a 6-game suspension. Brad panics and trades Minton for grit. If that's a wild thing. If the Leafs really struggle here without Morgan Ridly, which might actually happen because their defense is so thin, I don't think it leads to a panic trade by Brad. I think it leads to a panic, we don't believe in this team. And everything kind of stays put, and they might sell on somebody like TJ Brody. So this little stretch here without Morgan, whether it's 4 games, 5 games, or 6 games, I think is going to be really telling about this team if they pull it together and you're like, oh, all right, guys stepped up, like Lagesson, oh yeah. Then who knows if they can like buy majorly at the deadline and you relook at this team because you're like, now they're adding Mo after going through this great stretch without him and they can actually do something. You want to reward them for that. So that's a very interesting point there, Chris. I got this tweet from Iowa AVS Fan. Should get 25 games. Dale Hunter got 21 for a hit in an identical situation. Cross-check to the head, should get a few more. No, it's not the same. Iowa AVS Fan. I know what you're getting at. Talking about Dale Hunter and his cross-check to the head way back when. No, it's not the same. This is from Alex. The suspension will probably be the correct length, but because the Department of Player Safety never make the right call because they are inconsistent, it will be too long of a suspension. The fact that he is guaranteed to get more than Gallagher is proof. That's interesting. I think where they're going to land here, because it'll probably be 5 or 6, or I hope it's not 7. Like, if they go to like a 7 or 8, something like that, then you're like, oh, that should be how it is. But it's never how it is. So how can that be the right call? If that's what it should be, but it's never that, then how is that the right decision? So it's going to be a whole other mess when they actually lay out the suspension here. This one is from Leafs Guy 7. Not even the worst stick infraction of the season, but will set the precedent because, well, we all know why. And I think Leafs Guy is implying that the Department of Player Safety, run by George Peros, is out to get the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I don't think he's out to get them, but I think things that happen in Toronto have a bigger microscope on them. And sometimes there are lessons to the entire league that are handed out through the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I don't know if that is untrue at all. This is from Bob Cameron. None of it would have happened if this team went out, put the proper effort in, and do what they should against teams at the bottom. Win the game. And Bob, you hit on what Steve Dangle hit on last night in the LFR, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs should have never, ever been in a situation where Ridly Grieg has an empty net to slap shot the puck in. They are the better team, and they should be beating teams like Ottawa. They're still in a race for a playoff spot. Like, Detroit is really good. Tampa's always Tampa. Florida's going to be in there. Boston's going to be in there. The playoff race in the East is tight. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are wasting games against teams like Ottawa, who are at the bottom of the league. And the Leafs should have never been in a position to get a puck slap-shotted into an empty net. I think if you take a step back from that whole issue as a microcosm, you look at the Leafs team and you say, yeah, your problem here isn't getting slap-shotted into an empty net. It's you were losing this game and then ultimately lost it. And it's unacceptable at this time of the season. A couple more, and then I'll take off here. This one is from Offside Talk. It will be 6 games and then reduced to 4 by the league after Mo appeals. That'd be interesting. We often do see the appeals process and it get brought down a little bit. And then we'll end on this one. This one's from Zoltan. My hottest takes are ones you already agree with. The consistency of the NHL Department of Player Safety, the hit in general. Rielly deserves a suspension and Greig deserves a response. Yes. Generally things you guys more than likely agree with. And yes, that's kind of the overview of it. The NHL Department of Player Safety is a joke in how they hand out suspensions. Rielly shouldn't be cross-checking people in the head. Greig can do whatever he wants, but if you do whatever you want, people are allowed to react to that. Rielly reacted inappropriately, and I think that's kind of where we land at here. We're going to have more reaction to this on the Steve Dangle podcast on the SDPN YouTube channel on Monday. But for now, enjoy the Super Bowl, and I will see you later.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.